In this Fextralife video, I'm going to be talking about my hands-on impressions with The Outer Worlds 2. I got to play this game at Gamescom this year just a few days ago, and I was also sent the same build of the game after that, so I've been playing for the last couple days, just through that demo a little bit, kind of through character creation, kind of getting a better lay of the land, so to speak. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are very skeptical of this game. Obsidian's track record recently has been making like kind of, 8 out of 10 games, which is still, better than most of the games in the gaming space, but people have very high expectations for Obsidian. So I'm not necessarily sure that's meeting the expectations of their fan base in general. And we did a video on this not too long ago, kind of a first look, asking whether this game was $80 or worth $80 because that was the price point of this game at that time. And not long after that, Obsidian reduced the price of this game to $70. Coincidence? Maybe. I have no idea. What I will say, though, is that The Outer Worlds 2 seems to be a much more polished product than the original from what I have played so far. Admittedly, it's the first 30 minutes of the game, so it's not like I've been playing, 20, 30 hours like the first game was. But one of the things that I really noticed about it is that they have added pre-rendered cutscenes into the game that look really, really good. They're very high quality, and they add a production value feel to a game. Because if you remember, this is like a AA production value game, or at least the first one was. And The Outer Worlds 2 so far feels more like a AAA production from what I've seen, not only with the addition of those pre-rendered cutscenes that look really good, but also with UI changes and graphical improvements, etc. Now, I will say that character creation in The Outer Worlds 2 seems to be the highlight for me so far. Admittedly, you can only play a very short piece of the game, so I don't know how the whole game will measure up to character creation. But the character creation so far reminds me much more of the old Fallout games than The Outer Worlds does. And we'll go into why that is, but it just has something about it that makes you want to sit there and mess around with it for hours, because they're just tough decisions to be made about how to play your character. And I think that's great. Anytime you can sit in an RPG and take forever to create a character because you have so many options, Baldur's Gate 3, it's great. Like, that means that your gameplay is going to have a lot of nuance and a lot of options to it, and it's a good sign leading into the game. So for starters in character customization, you can make your character look pretty much how you want. It's not the most in-depth character creator I've seen so far, but you can change a lot of things about your character that will allow you a bunch of freedom. And, even though this is a first-person game, I know a lot of people out there appreciate having a character creator. I imagine you will see your character in some cutscenes and things like that, so you will see it sometimes. I myself don't really care too much about how my character looks, particularly in a first-person game, because you don't see yourself most of the time. But I know a lot of people out there will appreciate it, and simply the fact that they have it here is nice. Once you select, the way you want your character to look appearance-wise, you'll get to choose from one of 6 backgrounds from the game. And these backgrounds essentially kind of tell the history of your character as a background would be expected to do. This shouldn't be shocking to anyone out there. But these have gameplay implications in terms of unique dialogue options that you will have. And also, there may be some unique events in the game that happen to you based on your background. So take a minute, look through the backgrounds, figure out which one you want your character to have, and then reap the rewards or face the consequences of that. So next up after backgrounds are traits. There's about 10 to 12 of these you can choose in the game. I didn't count them, it's right around that number. But these affect your gameplay significantly. These are very, very good things for your character. And I think a lot of people are going to be stuck on trait selection for quite some time. Background is one thing. There's not too many. It doesn't have as much of an impact. But traits really, really impact the way your character plays overall. And I expect people to be stuck there trying to figure out, okay, what do I want? Do I want crit chance? Do I want things to happen to me? Do I want better sneak speed? Like, there are a lot of really, really good things that will impact them. But one thing that's really cool is that they've added the option to select an optional second trait if you want to, in exchange for selecting a negative trait. There are a few negative traits you can choose from. So if you have 2 traits that you really, really want to get, you can get them as long as you're willing to accept a negative trait. And the negative traits are, can be very impactful or not, depending on the way you play. There's one that affects your reputation with factions that I probably would never select, but some people might. And the dumb trait, for instance, makes it so that you lock out 5 skills and you can't add skill points to those skills as you progress the game. But if you already know you're not going to put points in every skill, which you probably won't anyway, that can be fine. It's one of those negatives that's only a negative if you really don't know how you want to play your character. If you want to leave it open to just pick and choose as you play. But if you kind of have like an idea, I'm going to play like a stealth sniper build, then yeah, you're probably not going to need melee damage, or you might not need explosive damage, for instance. So it might not be so hard to take that, and you can get that extra trait, which is really good. After this point, players will select 2 skills from about 15, 12 skills, something like that. These skills will look familiar from the first game. Most of them are similar to the first game, but they've been simplified and streamlined a bit. And what I really love about the way this works now is that you're going to pick 2 of them. They're going to start at a higher level than the other skills, and their cap, the highest they can go, will be higher than other skills. Kind of reminds me of the tag system a little bit from Fallout 1 and 2, in that these skills are going to just be more effective for you in general and easier to level up. So I really like that. And it also looks like, looking through the skills themselves, that they all seem to be very good. Like even speech has like increased human damage. Like, so even if, you know, you plan to play a dialogue focused character, which a lot of people will in this game because it's so dialogue heavy, you can still get extra damage against humans by taking that, making speech a really powerful skill. And there are just a lot of really, really good skills in here that I think it will take people, again, some time to really decide what they want to do. And I expect character creation to be a very, very difficult process in this game, and that is something I absolutely love. So something that's not present in the demo, though, is that there didn't seem to be a way to level up. Like, I think they've simply removed the leveling up process from the game. I don't know if that's just because you don't gain enough XP in this first mission to level up, although I kind of think you would. Or if they just are still maybe ironing out exactly like what they want to do per level up. But my speculation is probably that you'll gain 2 skill points per level up or something like that. Or maybe you gain 1 at the beginning and then it increases to 2 or 3 later on as you kind of go up higher and higher in level. And that's because there are no attribute points in this game. Unlike the first game, there are no attribute points. So you're not going to be putting points in like perception or intelligence or anything like that. So your character progression is basically going to have to come from either getting more traits, which I really don't see happening, or, you know, getting skill points and allotting them somehow. And really what's up in the air about that is probably just how many skill points that you get. And I think your health and stuff will probably just increase based on your character level, but it remains to be seen exactly what you get when you level up. I think it's just going to be related to those things based on character creation. So after character creation, the demo is about 30 minutes or so of gameplay. There are some decisions to be made in terms of how you tackle the mission, which I like. And your mission is basically like to infiltrate a base. And it was really fun to play. It reminded me why I like the Outer Worlds. It's been a long time since I played the Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds is one of those games that gets a lot of hate around the internet in retrospect. But when it came out, people had a lot of positive things to say about it. And I think it's just because when you look at the game, it's a very safe game. It's like kind of generic in some ways. It has its own identity for sure. It was fun to play. I really enjoyed playing it. But there's nothing like spectacular about the game. And so I think, you know, there's a tendency to look back at it and criticize it heavily. But when I played it at launch, I had a lot of fun with it. And I think people are going to have a lot of fun with the Outer Worlds too, from what I've seen so far, if it's just more of the same throughout. And I don't know if, you know, history will be kind to it again, just like the first game, but I do think it's going to be fun to play at launch from what I've seen. And one of the reasons that I really liked the Outer Worlds and what I was reminded of immediately of the Outer Worlds 2 is the humor in the game. The amount of sarcasm this game has is so strong. There's so much sarcasm and humor in just about every aspect of this game. It doesn't take itself seriously. Even in their trailers for promoting this game, it doesn't take itself seriously. And this is not a dark game for people who want to make tough decisions about horrible things. This is a game for people who just want to have some lighthearted fun. And maybe that's not your type of game, but sometimes it's nice to just have a game like that. And the humor in there really reminded me of why I really like the Outer Worlds to begin with, because I'm a very sarcastic person in general. I'm sarcastic all the time in my normal life. So I really, really like seeing that continue in this game. Talking a little bit about combat of the game, while the gunplay is definitely improved from the first game, from what I can tell so far, it feels more streamlined and it's a little bit better and a little more clean and polished. It's definitely still the weakest part of the Outer Worlds 2. Combat wasn't really great in Outer Worlds. It was okay. And I think it's probably a little bit better than okay in this game. It's like decent, good, but it's not absolutely mind-blowing, at least from what I've seen in the first 30 minutes. Obviously, things are going to evolve, but like the AI isn't particularly good. The enemies aren't particularly interesting. I don't think a lot of people that are playing the Outer Worlds 2 are playing it solely for the combat. You're playing it for a mix of the humor and the decisions that you make and the stories and things like that. And obviously some of it is going to be combat as well, but it's not solely for the combat. and I don't think the combat is going to carry this game alone. So if you don't like that sort of storytelling, the sarcastic, lighthearted nature of this game, then I definitely don't think I would recommend it just for the combat from what I've seen so far. And with regards to the companions, we really didn't get to see much in the demo of the companions, but Obsidian did release a trailer showcasing the companions. There are 6 of them. They have their own specialties and personalities. Some of them look really interesting to me, other ones not so much, which was also the case with the first game. And they did mention in the trailer that you can't sleep with your companions. I'm assuming this also means that you can't romance them, because why would you romance somebody and not sleep with them? That wouldn't make sense to me at all. Which I'm kind of disappointed by. I feel like Obsidian is kind of navigating playing it safe with the companions. I feel like they did this in Avowed as well. Like they're just trying to navigate modern politics by not getting involved one way or the other. And I really don't like that. I wish they would just make a game and put romance in it if it made sense and not if it doesn't make sense. And it feels like a lot of that is being dictated by modern politics. And I wish that, you know, when you meet people in real life, you know what I mean? And you have real life interactions, people, like friendships can escalate into romances very easily. And I feel like that's a natural course of action that can happen with people when they spend a lot of time together, like you do with companions. Just having that absent, particularly from games that historically have had that and has been like a special part of those games, just doesn't make them better. All in all, though, I had a ton of fun playing the Outer Worlds 2 demo. I am absolutely looking forward to this game more than I thought I would in October now. It's definitely a very good sign from what they've shown so far. October is going to be slammed with good games. One of the other games I'm really looking forward to is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. This is another game I got to play at Gamescom. It absolutely kicked ass. You're going to hear about that in our next video. And I think it's going to be shocking what I have to say about that game. So that wraps up our video on the Outer Worlds 2 hands-on impressions. What do you guys make of it so far from what you're hearing? Do you like the looks of character creation? Is this a game you're still on the fence about? You're going to wait for reviews? Or is it a game that, you know, you just simply like despite all the hate on the internet and you're going to play anyway? Or maybe you think it's garbage. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.